for Just Face It podcast. Today we're joined by the Psychocrast.
Hello.
And Tater and Smitch.
Hey guys.
Alrighty. So today we're going to be talking a lot about E3. Today we just had the Xbox, or the Microsoft conference at E3. It just finished up shortly, about an hour ago or so. Lots of exciting things to talk about. First off, let's what was everybody's favorite games?
Personally, I was really excited about the Dragon Ball game, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, that they renamed it. Psychonauts 2 looked amazing. Halo Infinite, of course, and Gears 5 were in my top 4.
That'll be really good. What about you guys, Tater, Smith?
Well, my kind of one I wasn't expecting / didn't know they were going to talk about at all was actually the Minecraft Dungeons. Been getting into Minecraft recently, and then the fact that they showed they're going to have like Diablo-esque mixed with Minecraft is just... I feel like it came out of left field, but it also looks like something I'm going to play the crap out of. So there's that, and then definitely Cyberpunk. They showed some really awesome stuff with that today. And Halo, as always, as a fan of the series from day one. So, I don't know, Tater?
Super excited for Halo, especially for it to come to PC, so I can actually play it. Yay! And then super excited about the new DLC they just dropped for Borderlands 2 to get us ready for Borderlands 3 in September.
I know, there's so many good games. You know, I've never really been a big Minecraft type person. I've played every once in a while, but Minecraft Dungeons actually looks pretty awesome.
It looks really good.
I'm actually looking forward to that. I think I'll actually pick that up. I don't know, there was so many games. 60 games they said they announced today, and it's so tough to put a finger on which one I want to play the most.
They do them in such rapid fire succession too that you're just like, that's so much.
Oh, I know. It's tough to even remember them all. I had to write them all down just so we can remember. But yeah, I mean, lots of new AAA games coming out. Lots of indie games. I always love the ID at Xbox showcase. They always have such beautiful looking games. And Legend of Wright, I'm actually looking forward to that. I don't think normally that would be my kind of game that I'd like to play, but artwork's gorgeous.
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous.
That's the notebook inspired one, like the doodle drawing. Yeah, that looked really cool.
I think that one and Spiritfarer. I think those were the two that stood out to me the most as far as the indie games go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were finally getting the Studio Ghibli style game that they announced and a year ago, and I love at the end of the trailer it said "for real this time."
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
So, were there any games you guys were surprised to see announced?
I don't really think so. I did find it interesting after... We probably won't talk about it that much today just because there wasn't much there, but the EA conference yesterday, it was kind of like their pre-E3 conference. They showed gameplay from Star Wars, the new game. I was actually more impressed by the video shown during the Xbox conference than I was the gameplay trailer that they showed yesterday, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But,
right.
Go ahead.
CD Projekt Red getting a release date was the most surprising to me, quite honestly, and Keanu Reeves, of all things.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. That was that was a good play by Microsoft. He's definitely pretty popular with our generation. That was a good little I don't want to say bribe, but
yeah,
a little something to get everybody hyped about.
I do find it interesting that it's kind of like that new trend that they will actually bring characters in and model them after like the real live actors or voice actors that are playing them for like the recognizability factor.
Yeah, it's interesting when they do that. I mean, it's always... I was trying to think of the first game that I saw somebody do that. What was it? I think Beyond Two Souls was the first one that I remember where it actually like came off really, really well. You're like, oh, that's what's her name? Ellen Page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one, and then of course Kevin Spacey back in Advanced Warfare, where you just get the creep factor turned up to 11.
Yep.
Yeah. Crackdown 3 is Terry Crews.
As I say, more recent titles. You've got Crackdown 3. Horizon Zero Dawn had I can't remember his name. Turns out to be the evil character in the game. It's not going to come to me, but I'm terrible with names.
It's slipping my mind too.
It's all good. I always love it when they do that. It's always a lot of fun. The Terry Crews one, I mean, regardless of how Crackdown 3 turned out, it was cool that it wasn't just a photorealistic rendition of him. It was a whole nother art style, which I always thought was kind of cool as far as that goes. Still looks like him.
Yeah.
Still moves like him. Just cartoon version, which I always thought was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really good by them. I never played Crackdown 3. I heard not so great things about it, but it's now on the Game Pass, which is finally available for PC. So now I can figure it out for myself if it's for me or not. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like kind of going a different direction, but you were talking about or asking about games that we're excited about. Honestly, just as a whole, I'm excited with what Microsoft's doing with Game Pass. They're definitely making it a service that I think is worth buying into, especially for people who aren't sure on new titles and things like that. I think over half the titles they talked about today are coming to Game Pass at launch.
Yeah, they're going to be on Game Pass day one, which means you can try them out, and if they're not something you like, you're not invested as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I've always loved about Game Pass. I mean, I've always kind of had Game Pass, like, even though I don't really use my Xbox, I'll pick it up every once in a while, and I think about like 6 months out of the year, I'll have Game Pass running, just so I can try some of those new games that I'm not quite so sure about. Like I gave Crackdown a go, and I don't feel like I lost anything by upping my subscription for that $10 that month. It was $10 versus $60. So I've always loved that. This conference has me so excited. It reminds me so much of the 360 era Xbox, where they're being aggressive. They're going for market share. They want to own everything, and I think Phil Spencer, he's just the man. He's like, in the gaming world, I know there's lots of other names that would get thrown out, but me growing up on Xbox, he's like the Steve Jobs of video games, for me personally anyways. I know not everybody would like that, me saying that, but
it's definitely like almost like a household name if you play video games.
Yeah. And I love how aggressive they're being. They've finally realized people want to play anywhere. They want to play on whatever they want to play on.
They definitely had a buzzword today. What you want.
Yep. And Phil Spencer has been smart by just grabbing it by the horns and saying, we're going to do this for you, by pushing both PC and Xbox side together, by pushing crossplay. Back when the whole Sony debacle was going on with Fortnite and crossplay, Phil Spencer was first one out there immediately. Before anybody said anything, he was like, yep, nope, we want to do crossplay. We want to do it, but certain other publishers aren't quite as willing. Go
ahead.
I was just saying, I think they're smart, and they're focusing less on the hardware, because they when it comes down to it, software is what moves hardware. Both games and your operating system programs, all that. That's what moves your hardware. And you notice it with the Xbox conference today. They really didn't spend much time on the new console. I mean, it's Granted,
Yeah.
it's still a ways off, but they were talking about Xbox as a service.
Mhm.
And with it being rumored that Xbox and Nintendo are in talks right now to bring Xbox Live service over to Nintendo, they're just being smart and then pushing into xCloud. They just want the Xbox brand everywhere.
Yep. Give me 1 second for a pause. I actually need to disconnect and reconnect to our call.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I will say one game that did surprise me, which a lot of MMO players are going to be excited about, is Phantasy Star Online 2.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
did not expect that to come out at all in the West, and it's really cool that it is. The last time we saw Phantasy Star Online in the United States was the one for Sega Dreamcast, if I'm not mistaken, and that was 2001.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a friend who's also a Facebook streamer, Kendrasite, for anyone who may know him. And literally just 4 days ago, he was telling me, he's like, I would kill to have that game here. He's like, I've been waiting for it for 9 years. And as soon as they had that announcement, I was like texting him, and I'm like, it's coming. And he's like, what? So he's super excited about it. And I know there's a lot of people who are going to be, so.
It's yeah, I'm not. I've never played that game, but it looks awesome. And anytime they bring over Eastern game over into the West, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty popular, runs well. So that'll be a good addition.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was surprising. Just the sheer amount of games that they had for Game Pass this year, I think it was 34 of them in total that they announced, is massive. I was also excited to see that they're going to try to challenge Google Stadia with their own Play Anywhere services, which will be coming, like using your own Xbox to be your own cloud server, so you can play on your phone or on your tablet or anything like that. That's pretty ingenious of them to do.
Oh, it was so smart, and it's back to that being aggressive again. Just shortly after Google talks about Stadia, they're like, no, that's cool and all, but we're going to do it better, and we're going to do it cheaper. You already got this stuff. We're not going to charge you more for it. Yeah, that made me happy. I mean, I was hesitant about. I mean, the streaming games, it looks awesome and all that, but I don't have the bandwidth to stream games directly, and but if it's going to be on Xbox, I'm going to give it a go because I already own all that gear. I've already got Xbox Live.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be worth trying out, and I think that's awesome that Xbox already has the user base to test that out and to hopefully improve on it as it comes along.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm interested to see if Sony will have anything to say on maybe doing one themselves.
Well,
with Sony's track record, I doubt it, but you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So what did you guys, Psycho? You're I guess our resident tech expert. What did you think about some of the new hardware shown off?
I'm excited. They're taking their own take on an Optane drive, which for those of you who don't know what an Optane drive is it's an SSD that acts as RAM, and it gives you a 6% speed increase from like your top tier overclocked RAM that you can get now. So I want to see more of what they're going to do with that. I'm really interested in the fact that they went completely AMD. So Ryzen Zen 2 processor. So it's going to be a third generation Ryzen. The Navi graphics card, which we don't know a whole lot about right now, but that's supposed to be the equivalent to the 20 series for half the price. So I want to see more of that, and then of course I was just happy to hear that they're putting an actual solid-state hard drive in there and not a traditional. So
It may be a
things
little
will run
quieter.
faster. It's really cool to see that they're able to get 120 frames of 4K and that they have 8K options out there, which will really push the boundaries of gaming here in the future, especially because Samsung's got an 8K TV out. So I'm excited to see where that goes. It makes me wonder what announcing all that's going to do for the PlayStation 5, and kind of go from there. But from a hardware side, it's very impressive. I'll give them that.
Well, and I know earlier when you were talking, you were saying that not just Xbox, but also PlayStation is going away from Intel, correct?
Yep. PlayStation announced earlier this week that they went completely AMD this time around too, which is the first time in console history, the newer generation consoles that had a processor, that they will be running non-Intel products. It really makes me wonder what Intel and NVIDIA are going to do to kind of answer that on the PC side of things, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll be honest, even more so than the new console, I'm excited for the new Elite controller. I love my current Elite. I posted a link in there if you want to pull it up, brings to the store page. It's I love my Elite controller, but it's old at this point. I bought it refurbished. I think I got it for $70-$80 back 6 months after it came out when it was $150. The new one looks fantastic. I can't wait to it. I've been wanting a new Elite controller for a while. It's a little pricey. I think they're listing it at $180, $179.99 right now. But it does have a lot more features than the previous Elite controller. The being able to adjust the tension is probably the biggest selling point for me on it. As far adjusting the tension on the joysticks.
I was kind of impressed with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have your own Elite controllers, but I have a hard time going back to the standard controller after using that.
I've been looking at them, and actually, I think it was just yesterday, 2 days ago, Tater and I were in Best Buy, and we were like touching or holding one, and we were like, oh, this is really nice. Like, if it had been in the budget, we may have walked out with one that day. So
they are pricey, but oh man, they're worth it. As long as you don't mind dropping money on gaming accessories, they are totally worth it.
Well, and those hair triggers for shooters. PC.
Yeah, the hair triggers are nice, and now they always had 2 different settings on the first version. This one it looks like there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
which I'm curious to see how much that actually shortens it. The first one it was about you'd pull the trigger about halfway back and it would catch it and stop it there. So I don't even know if it's just just a tap to start firing or anything like that. But I'm looking forward to it, and it may sound silly, but one of the things I'm really that the rubber actually wraps all the way around the grips.
Yep.
Because mine just has the rubber on the back, and those have completely fallen off.
Oh no.
So the Elite controller, the first one anyways, is amazing, but it's not super durable. So I'm hoping this one, with it wrapping all the way around, it's going to be a little bit more sturdy.
Yeah,
it's my hope.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. No, I've never owned an Elite controller. I have used them. They are nice controllers. It's just one of those. I usually only play keyboard and mouse, so I never really decided to put the money out for it. But if you guys out there are looking for a nice controller, it comes out this November, so it might be the good way for you to go up your game a little.
Yeah. And for those of you guys that are watching the video, there's the 3 settings for those triggers on the back.
I'm looking forward to it. I know I shouldn't buy it, but I'm gonna.
I mean, if your rubber's falling off, it's time for an upgrade anyway, right?
Yeah, that's what I figure. I owe it to myself to get a new one.
I mean, if you've used it enough that's coming off, I think you'll get your use out of a new one. So,
it feels so good. Honestly, I think it's the next best thing to those Elite controllers are the next best thing to a mouse and keyboard as far as like shooters go.
Yeah.
They're pretty solid. So last year Microsoft talked about, or they announced, I think it was 14 new studios that they acquired. They didn't really show off a whole lot about it. We've kind of gotten leaks throughout the years. Today they showed off a whole bunch of games from those new studios. So talking about specific games from those specific studios, or from these new studios, is there any one of those that really stood out to you from these new first-party developers?
Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts?
Absolutely.
Justin was super ready to shove that one in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Tim Schafer's a legend, and he makes comedy gold on any game he's ever worked on, and the first Psychonauts was a cult classic. Really should have had another one earlier, but I'm happy that it's coming now. That's the one I'm excited about.
Honestly, there were quite a few of them. With a bunch of them coming to Xbox Game Pass, I'm probably going to pick up each and every one of them and at least touch them. I've never actually played Psychonauts, but I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, and it very much had that kind of whimsical Tim Burton feel to me. So I'll definitely be trying out Psychonauts when it comes out, and probably touching at least a few of the others through Game Pass.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't expecting I guess I was expecting another studio acquisition announcement, just because Microsoft's been on a roll with that lately. But I wasn't expecting Double Fine. I really haven't played many Double Fine games. I think Brutal Legend is about one of the only ones I've played. I never played Psychonauts. I'm looking at it. That was 2005 when it came out. It's been a while, 14, almost 15 years. But yeah, I get what you mean about the art style. I'm totally into that. It reminds me of Leica Studios, like their animation. Like Paranorman specifically is what it reminds me of. That same sort of weird disfigured bodies. But yeah, that's why I'm loving these Game Pass announcements, is because I feel it's a lot more consumer friendly. It's a lot less dangerous for me to go out there and risk my money on a title or an IP I've never touched or heard of. I mean, I'm sure it's happened to all you guys. I don't know how many times I've been burned by pre-ordering a $60 game, and then it comes out and it's just dead.
Yeah.
It's broken, or there's no support for it. There's always a couple every year, and I've had to become a lot more hesitant about which games I get, at least waiting, a couple days or to a week to see how it's going to turn out.
I've honestly feel like I've missed out on a few games too because of that, because after getting burnt so many times, like you said, you're hesitant. And there's a couple of games I know I've not picked up because I was hesitant, and then I never actually get around to playing them, because by the time I'm like, okay, this game actually got good reviews, something else has come out that I'm more interested in. So being able to pick up things on their launch dates for that small entry fee compared to a $60 price tag will be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
It also brings up, look at Anthem. A lot of people paid $60 for Anthem, and it was a huge letdown. Fallout 76 was a huge letdown. Here, you're paying $10, and if you don't like it, move on to one of the other 103 games that are on there.
Yeah, if you don't like what you're currently playing, there's lots more to choose from. And you're not out your $60.
I'm a fan of the game services like that, just because, I mean, I'm a very jumpy, what am I playing today kind of guy. So, I don't know, if if I'm gonna spend my money on a game, I gotta make sure it's a game that I'm gonna play through all the way. Otherwise, I just wasted $60 on a game that just sits in my library forever, and I never touch it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we were talking about this earlier. For us variety streamers, this gives us 100 new games to choose from every day.
Yeah.
Way more flexibility. Yeah,
In 3
and
months,
they're always
never-
adding.
Never play the same game twice.
Yeah, and at least on the Xbox side, just watching it ever since they introduced Game Pass, like they've been awesome about adding games every month. Like there's always like 5 to 10 new games, and they pull stuff out, some of the less popular stuff, or when a license goes out. But it's a solid rotation, and there's always 100 to 150 games in the library at any given time that you can just pick up and download, and a lot of them are first day releases.
Yeah.
You know,
Like surprisingly enough, I would when they announced Game Pass, I would have assumed, okay, there'll be a 3 to 6 month waiting period.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the AAA games, but some of the other ones. And shoot, it seems like every game that comes out that I see pop up as brand new on the Microsoft Store,
Yeah, there was
every
only a
other
couple
one is.
that weren't going to be on Game Pass on launch day, and I think it was some of the bigger ones. So Dying Light, Cyberpunk.
Mhm.
Those are the 2 big ones. I noticed that those are the only ones that didn't really get the nice launch day Game Pass banner
Yeah.
on the bottom.
But then on the other side of that, you've also do have some of the big titles, like
Yeah.
Gears of War 5 is going to be on there, and that's a
Mhm.
big series for Xbox. So having that available through Game Pass, I think, is going to help them.
Yeah, all the first party games are always on there, and I love that guarantee because that's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, way back when I was trying to decide, do I get because I joined. I think the first console I got was a 360. So when I was trying to decide which one I was going to get at my own money between the 360, the PS3, or the Wii at the time, I went to 360, and it was strictly because of Halo. That's
Yep.
where all my friends were. That's what we were playing. That was the hot game at the time, and I haven't regretted it. But so it'll be. I'm happy. I'm happy with this Game Pass. Makes me excited.
Yeah, I mean,
speaking
go ahead, Justin.
of Halo, for all you PC players out there that haven't got to experience Halo, we're finally getting the Master Chief Edition sometime soon on PC, so you can go through 1 through 4 and Halo Reach and get caught up on the Master Chief side of things.
Yeah. And just as a note on that, Reach will be the first title released, and I believe they're doing staggered release for anyone who may not know. So the collection's going to be released in full on PC, but they're going to release them in game universe order, I think is the best way to say that. So Reach will be the first title because in the universe, that's the first game technically. And then they'll go 1 through 4 after, or 1 through 5? 1 through 4?
5 is coming, they just didn't announce when.
Okay, yeah.
Is ODST going to be included in that?
No.
Okay.
ODST will be the only one that you have to pay additional for if you really want it. The reason being ODST did not sell very well, so they don't count it as a canon part of the lore.
Gotcha. I was just curious because I know it came to the my Master Chief collection on Xbox. I was just didn't know if that was being included on PC as well. I didn't mind ODST.
I thought it was alright.
I don't think they've announced it at this point, but I mean, if it's on Xbox with how much they're crossing everything over, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
It may be one of those ones they decide isn't worth the port effort.
Yeah, I get that. So were there any announcements that you guys were hoping to see today that didn't happen?
Fable?
Yeah. There was no Fable.
I wanted Fable. It didn't happen. I have loved Fable since the very first game, and it gives you something that I feel like no other game has filled the void in my soul for. So I want the next Fable game. I want to be Chicken Chaser again.
We know it's in development because the guys who did Forza are making it. But yeah, I was hoping to see some Fable there. Maybe like Fable with some multiplayer action would be great, but unfortunately they missed the mark on that, or they're holding it for Gamescom. Who knows?
That's possible.
Yeah, as far as that goes, not really. I was surprised to see as many JRPGs as they announced for Xbox, because they've never really been huge on JRPGs.
Yeah, it's
that was kind of cool.
PlayStation.
Yeah, since this last year, Xbox has really been pushing bringing JRPGs, Japanese games, over more. I think a big one that they brought over that they announced last year and finally came out, I think a month or two on Xbox, was Black Desert Online.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing, just browsing the store here and there, there's been a lot more JRPGs popping up. But yeah, there was a lot today. Surprisingly a lot. There was the fantasy one, the MMO, and then of course Tales of Arise. That was another big one. And I'm trying to think what else.
Flipping through my
I didn't write down all the indie games. There was a lot of indie games thrown at me really quick. But
I think those are the two big ones.
Yeah. What did you guys think of the Elden Ring trailer?
I was just about to ask about that. I'm confused.
Yeah, very confused.
Yeah. It was like Norse meets Lord of the Rings. I wasn't sure what was going on.
Was that Odin? Like, am I the only one thinking that was Odin, or?
No, I thought it was very like Norse mythology meets Lord of the Rings. I was very confused by it. I'd like to see more. I want to see what he's pushing off, finishing his last book for.
There's a rumor out that they're actually written and he's just holding on to them, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get him with his will.
Yeah.
I mean, don't forget Lego Star Wars, guys. Yeah.
I was surprised to see that one.
The complete Skywalker saga.
They built an entire car out of Legos.
They did. That was really cool.
I was like, after last year, them announcing the new Porsche, I was like, oh, give me another car. And then it was Legos. And I was like, that's really cool, but that's not what I wanted.
I mean, honestly, I'm not big into racing games and all that. And like, nice spendy cars are, for me, they're nice to look at, but unless I'm driving it, I don't really care.
Yeah.
So usually every year when they do a Forza announcement, I kind of space out almost. That's the one section of the Xbox conference I'm just daydreaming.
Yeah.
But that Lego one actually had me really excited. It actually looked really fun. I don't know if you guys played the Hot Wheels expansion that they did before, but that was a blast. The Horizon games, Forza Motorsport is always really nice. The amount of quality that they put into it is amazing. But for me, the Horizon version of that franchise is where it's at. Being able to go off-road and mess around a little bit more. And Hot Wheels was amazing. So I'm expecting Lego to be absolutely amazing, because everything is awesome.
I did see a game that caught my attention. I'm a big horror game fan, and the Blair Witch game looked really interesting to me.
Yeah, that caught my eyes too. I'm not good with horror games. I like watching other people play them, but as soon as I go to play, I mean, last time I played a horror game, I broke an Xbox controller, and it wasn't even a monster jumping out at me. It was like a crow flying by, and I threw my controller and broke it. So I don't play him very well. I'm definitely a scaredy cat with those, but that one looked really good. And I wasn't expecting it to be a Blair Witch. I was expecting some Outlast spin-off or something like that with the video
That's what it reminded me of, yeah.
Yeah, Blair Witch. It's been a long time. So it kind of seems weird to do a video game, to do a license of it, but it looks legit.
I almost thought it was like another Alan Wake, and I almost got super excited. But
yeah,
still no Alan Wake.
No, I don't think we're going to see anything from Remedy for a good little while, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sorry. The weird thing to me about the... Oh gosh, the thought. It's gone. I'm sorry. It was there, and then it was just like, poof. I'll come back to it. I'll find it.
It's all good. What did you guys think about the only mobile game being announced?
The Pop. Gears of War, Clash of Clans, whatever.
That's a pass for me, quite honestly.
I don't want to play games on my phone. I have a perfectly good PC. There are all the consoles. I don't need to play games on my phone most of the time. If I do, it's Bejeweled, so.
It looked really cute, but I feel like it would have the same issue that a lot of mobile games have, and are just microtransactions.
Yeah. Wasn't there a Pop game announced last year?
Yeah, it was Gears.
Was it Gears? It was the same one?
Yeah, it was Gears Pop, and surprisingly, it hasn't come out. Which, for a mobile game, it's...
pretty long
they
development
don't have
cycle.
Yeah, they usually don't have more than a year-long development cycle because people don't care if you're adding on to the game as it goes on. They're not expecting, a polished 120 frames per second type of game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely feel like we're in the minority as Facebook streamers and probably saying we're not excited for mobile games.
Yeah, I mean, the only mobile game I'll probably end up playing is Diablo when that comes out, just because I want to play it. But I'll probably download an emulator on my computer and play it through that.
Yeah, I don't buy phones that are good for gaming. I buy a phone for its use as a phone and maybe surfing the web.
I mean, everybody has a phone though, Justin. Obviously, that's where we're gonna game.
No. Well, I'll maybe it's because I'm old. I'll just go sit in the corner.
I feel you, man. For as much money as I spent on my PC and my console, my whole gaming setup, I had a flip phone up until like 3 years ago. Like I've never cared about having a phone. Right now, I'm running a phone. I think it was still used when I bought it a couple of years ago, and I think at this point it's like 6 years old. I can't. There's a lot of apps I can't run on it. Yeah, I've just never got into the mobile gaming. It makes me a little sad that they're doing that with the Gears franchise. It seems like a weird franchise to try and turn into a mobile game.
Yeah.
At least to me, like I know everybody was upset about it, but at least Blizzard or Diablo makes a little bit more sense doing a mobile version of that because it's top down. A lot of it you can do by touch. It makes sense, but
yeah, I think the upset. I don't want to go too long on this, but the reason people were upset about the mobile announcement for Diablo was because it was mobile exclusive. If they had just said, "Hey, you'll also be able to play it on PC," I think a lot of people would have been fine with it.
Yeah. But
back to Gears.
I don't know. Gears seems weird.
Yeah. I can't see them
Just
having that
feels
big
weird
of a fan base that wants to play it on mobile.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I keep my phone up to date is because streaming and all of that, it's just easier to keep up with everyone. If my phone can process a little faster, so.
Alright, so we're coming down to the final 15 on here, on our podcast. So the last two things I want to go over real quick, or there's two more things I want to go over. They're the big announcements. Gears 5, what did you guys think about that?
I'm excited for Gears 5. Big fan of the series. I played all the way through E4. I mean, I even played Judgment. I forgave it for all of its flaws. But I'm excited to see where the story goes. I'm interested in all the new modes that they're announcing. that could be cool, especially one that's 3-player couch co-op. I mean, I don't have 3 people who play games in the house, but if that's got an online portion, I've got a few friends who play Gears, so that'd be cool. So yeah, overall, I'm excited for Gears. And they went all out on their presentation for Gears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I do find it interesting that they're dropping Gears also in September.
Yeah, that's gonna be. September's gonna be a rough month.
But I feel like, I mean, people who are super deep into gaming are going to play all those games coming out in September, but at least Gears is a franchise kind of separated away from the others. So for anyone listening that may not know, Borderlands 3 is dropping September 14th, I believe.
13th, and then the new Destiny 2 update drops on the 17th.
So those are dropping the same week, and I feel like those two communities have a lot of crossplay between them. But I'm not sure how much the Gears community actually bleeds over into that, unless you're like a hardcore gamer. But I'm honestly, my impressions of the game, I'm guilty of not playing a Gears game since the second one. It looks really pretty, and I may go back and actually do a series playthrough just to pick it up, but that's kind of where I'm at.
I've always kind of had like a love-hate relationship with Gears of War. I absolutely adore the campaigns. I love the characters. I love the worlds that they've created with it, and I love the storyline that goes with it. It's heart-wrenching. It's angry. It's gritty. I love all that. I don't like third-person cover shooters, so I've put some time into multiplayer, but that's not where a lot of my time has been spent. It's usually been in campaign or Horde. So me personally, I'm really excited for this new escape mode that they're talking about. I'm ready for another PvE type experience. Because for me, like when I got into Xbox originally and first started on it, it was the co-op experiences that I got into it. It was Halo, running through the co-op campaigns over and over with friends. Like that was always my favorite thing to do, trying to go everything on legendary difficulty. Yep. So I'm looking forward to this new escape mode, whatever it entails. I'm ready for it. So then the last big announcement, Halo.
Yes.
The one everybody's been waiting for.
I wish there was gameplay.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't launch until next gen though, so they've still got over a year and a half, or not over, about a year and a half of development. They're probably going to spend a year at least, just because they have to get it to on the discs and everything. But I would rather them wait and not show us something that looks really choppy and lets us down. So,
absolutely,
I'm happy that Chief is back.
That was kind of that was a shock.
Because when they first announced it, Chief wasn't going to be the protagonist, and then now it looks like he's going to be the protagonist again. And I'm happy that it's coming to PC. So that's another great thing. I actually called it when we were watching the conference that Halo was going to be the launch title for Scarlet, and then they announced that it was going to be the launch title, which makes sense. But yeah, hitting back up, I'd rather wait for them to put out a fully polished game than pull a Bethesda or EA issue where they put out a broken game and then you have to wait for it to slowly get better as time progresses.
Well, and I don't want them to pull back the graphics either if their current generation isn't up to snuff with what they're planning to do. So I'd rather wait until Scarlet drops and have a system capable of running what they want it to.
Definitely. I'm all in all excited for this. I mean, 343, you got to give it to them. They swallowed a big pill after the last Halo. They came back and said, we understand you didn't like the campaign. We understand your concerns. We're going to completely rework that. So they scrapped the entire story they were planning out, starting from scratch, to make Master Chief more a part of it, to try and make it more coherent, more cohesive, bringing back split screen co-op, and which was a big thing for me, and I know for a lot of fans, because that's always been a staple of Halo, being able to have 4 Master Chiefs running around for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
That's always been a big selling point of Halo. Been saying there's going to be no microtransactions at all in this next Halo. No battle royale, I guess, on a side note.
People were scared.
Yeah.
They've created a whole new engine for that. I mean, the last couple years after Halo 5 came out, they built a brand new engine from scratch specifically for Halo. They're talking about having some sort of like RPG choice elements in this Halo, which would be interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
To see what that actually means. If it's as far as like story choices, I actually don't mind that too much, or just simple kind of like loadout ability skill changes. Doesn't have to be a full blown RPG, but a little bit. It wouldn't bother me, but I was loving that video, that short cinematic that they did. It was heart wrenching, I thought, with the mom and the daughter on the hologram, and Master Chief coming out. You just get that a bit of giddy excitement. The music starts. I mean, I love Halo. I've read all the books, seen all the shows that they've done for it. I love the lore of Halo. I can't wait to see what the story brings out next.
How'd you feel seeing the Halo destroyed?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited.
Excited and sad, or just excited?
Just excited. I like people who take risks with their stories. So I every single time I'd rather have somebody try something new and have it fail than just stick with the same humdrum that works for the franchise. If that makes sense.
It does.
It's like the new Assassin's Creed. I'm not really into the reboot of the Assassin's Creed, these last 2 games, but I understand what they're doing, and they're good changes that they needed. It's not for me, but I appreciate that they did that. That makes sense.
It does.
Yeah. I enjoy the new Assassin's Creeds. I like the changes that they did. I just hope that they don't really mess too much with the Halo lore itself, and try to make something newer and not something that they've done before multiple times in the past. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
I think the one thing, I mean, besides Fable, that I was kind of missing on this conference is, and maybe they'll wait till the actual Ubisoft conference, but I was kind of half expecting to hear a Splinter Cell announcement.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe not everybody was, but I mean, at least personally, I've always associated Splinter Cell with Xbox. I think a lot of people have, and I was expecting to see some sort of teaser for another Splinter Cell at the Xbox conference. At the very least, I was expecting the new Ghost Recon to be teased there. Just because Ubisoft and Xbox have always worked closely together. But I'm holding hope out. Tomorrow, maybe at UB conference, we'll see it.
Yeah.
And another Far Cry.
And another Far Cry.
Yeah. One thing we didn't really touch on, and it's just kind of a small point that I know we're all probably kind of excited about, is they did announce during the Xbox conference that they are releasing a DLC for Borderlands 2. It's going to be the story bridge between 2 and 3.
It's free and it's live.
It's free and it's live right now, so I'm excited to hop on and play that and have just a little bit more Borderlands content to hold me over until September.
It'll be good. It's kind of, I mean, it's weird, but it's awesome for DLC to come out 7-8 years after the game's original release.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining, but it's kind of weird for me to log into Steam and download a new piece of DLC.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've always done things weird though, because like you had Borderlands 1 and then Borderlands 2, and then they went back and did like basically 1.5 with the pre-sequel, even though it was a different studio, it still fit into the timeline. And then there was the Telltale game that they're now saying is canon, and they're actually bringing one of those characters back, which I thought was interesting with the Telltale studio actually being disbanded. So
I really liked that. I
Reese.
really liked that game. Yeah, I was a big fan of that.
Yeah.
No,
Best
I love
gunfight
that
ever.
game. But it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see how they've pulled it all together, and 3 different studios' games are all technically in the same timeline, and then they're like, yeah, whatever, let's drop a DLC, why not?
Y'all are all super excited. Here's some more.
Yeah, that was pretty cool of them. I was not expecting that from Gearbox at all.
No,
Take-Two.
I was just super excited they gave us another trailer, and then they were like, and here's the Lilith DLC, and I was like, ugh.
Oh yeah, also in the trailer, a gun that shoots guns, like what?
Yeah.
Running around on its 2 little legs.
Shoot the loot.
Oh, I was going to say, the other game that stood out to me was, I probably won't appeal to everybody, but 12 Minutes.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that one seemed very interesting.
Very interesting, but I'm really not sure what they're going for.
Was it like
I-
a Stanley Paradox style vibe, or...
It's Groundhog's Day, but within 12 minutes instead of a whole day. And no matter what happens, he starts in there with his girlfriend or wife or whoever she is. Yeah, and at a certain point, a police officer or somebody at least disguised as a police officer comes to break in and ends up killing him or her. And it resets every 12 minutes, and the whole gist is you're trying to find a way to escape that reality. And it's all just done within that one little, like 1 to 3 rooms.
Yeah, the apartment, basically.
Yeah. And it's probably not for everybody. I know the whole Groundhog's Day is pretty played out across all media.
Yeah.
But that one looks really interesting to me. It looks like a good puzzle escape room kind of thing with some heavy emotion in
I
it.
was about to say, it may be one of those ones you have to like put down for a second and go like take a breath and be like, oh, that was really bad.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Like,
Yeah,
how
that
many
one-
times can my wife get murdered before, have a breakdown?
So I am super excited for that. Just trying to run through the other games real quick. Flight Simulator, we haven't seen one since I think 2011, 2012. That's always been a big like Microsoft Studio game. The last one flopped, even though it was free to play. This one, it looked really good. I'm not big into the Flight Simulator stuff, but I know there's a hardcore portion of the PC gaming community who have always loved those, all the different types of flight simulators and spaceship simulators and all that kind of stuff. So that was interesting to see. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, that was announced last year. I'm looking forward to that coming out again.
Yep.
That's such a beautiful game, such amazing music. I'm glad they didn't take time for a 10-minute piano solo this year. Last year, as gorgeous as that song was, and it was a
too
haunting, beautiful song, it totally kills the mood.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they didn't do that. Oh, Bleeding Edge. What did you guys think about that? Like one of the first ones right out the gate.
It interests me. It reminded me more of like a melee-heavy Overwatch in a sense.
Right.
I'd like to see more. I might sign up for the technical, see if I can get in there and play around with it.
I think it's going to be one of those games that you play with friends. I'm not really sure if it's going to be a solo experience.
Yeah, I that one really stood out to me. I love those arena type. I don't think it's a shooter, but you know what I mean. I love those type of arena games.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Ninja Theory is a superb developer, so I'm hoping it'll be really good. Outer Worlds.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I like the art style. Little Borderlands-y meets Fallout.
Very
Yeah.
nice art style.
I like the fact that they hit on what Fallout 4 was lacking, the fact that you can choose to be evil.
Mhm.
Because if there's anything I like to do in video games, it's brutally murder everything in my sight. So that spoke to me just for that.
Did they give us a release date for that?
Yes, October 25th.
October 25th. Okay, yeah. So I've been excited for that. I think they announced it last year at E3.
Not E3, but it was announced this last spring. I want to say
Okay.
March or February, around there.
I've been excited for it since they announced it. I'll definitely pick it up and play it. It was nice to see some more gameplay. A gun that shrinks enemies, Very Borderlands-y vibe on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell if they were just slowing down some of the fight scenes or if that was actually going to be an ability.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that makes sense. I couldn't quite
nail that down.
tell. Yeah. Either way, I don't care. I'm gonna love it when I play it. I love Obsidian. They are one of my all-time favorite developers.
Yeah.
Easily in my top 5. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's Obsidian's made up of a bunch of guys who did the original Fallout, and as I liked Fallout 3 and 4. They were fun, but the originals and New Vegas, those are the best because they got that weird black humor to it that 3 and 4 just lack. And you can see that from Obsidian and in all their other games. It still reigns there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm expecting some weird, messed up humor when Outer Worlds comes out.
That's gonna be a good one.
And sci-fi is my favorite genre, so it's just it's all fitting. It's all coming together.
I like the Firefly vibe. I want to be a space cowboy.
Yes.
Right. Right.
I just love how it kind of reminds me of like a 1984 setting, dystopian. Everybody listens to the government, and then suddenly somebody is just like, "Nope, I want to overtake everything."
Mm-hmm.
So that's right up my alley.
I know we're getting close to that hour mark, but I can't remember. Did we hit on Dragon Ball?
I'm okay.
Psychocraft?
I'm okay going a little bit longer if you guys are.
As long as we're having good talk.
First time. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me. You brought it up at the beginning, Psycho.
I couldn't remember if we did it before or after we started.
We spoke a little bit about it. I'm excited. It looks really good. It's going to be fully open world. It looked beautiful, and it's all based on Goku or Kakarot. And with it being open world, we can explore things that we've never seen in the Dragon Ball universe before. It does look like it only goes up to the Frieza saga, so that leaves room for either a sequel or an. But we'll see from there.
Yeah.
'Cause it looks good.
I'll be honest, Ball, since I was like probably 5 or 6, none of your mouth made any sense to me. But I'm glad you're excited. I'm glad everybody else is excited for it. I'm not big into anime myself, but I think it's awesome that it's got such a strong following, and it seemed like people were super hyped. There's a lot of cheers going on when that was announced.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you, Jace. I've never really been a Dragon Ball fan, but I understand that it has a huge group of people who are super excited about it. So
I'm one of them.
I know.
My favorite anime.
To quickly give a brief glimpse of my background, I was an animation student for a long time, and I'm 8 out of 10 animation students. The only thing they can draw is anime. So I kind of grew to hate it quickly just because of that. I don't actually hate it, but I have a low tolerance for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm glad people are excited to see it. Battletoads. Did you guys ever play the original Battletoads?
I have not.
I loved the original, and I just thought it was funny that they actually announced it because I don't know if you guys remember years ago they announced doing a Battletoads for like PlayStation 3, and the people started trolling this GameStop in Florida, calling them nonstop like, "Hey, do you have Battletoads?" to the point that the manager quit. Like he freaked out and quit on them. So for them to actually show a Battletoads game just made me think of that, and I just started laughing. But I'd give it a play.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I loved the original one as a kid. It was hard. I never got very far in it because it was incredibly hard, and I was a kid. But not like the kid gamers now. But I'm excited. It makes me happy to see an old IP like that who's had a long rest be brought back, and that's the awesome thing about Phil Spencer. Go on about him again. He's made it abundantly clear he wants to bring back a lot of these old IPs. There was one game I can't remember the name of it, but it was an original Xbox game, and it was his favorite game to play with his son. And so I think it was a year or two. He's like, "All right, we're just going to remaster it." It's like, I don't care how much it costs, we're going to remaster it. And they did, and it didn't sell well. Blinky. I'm spacing the name. I never actually played it. But that's what I love about him. He's a gamer at heart, and he goes back. He's been playing all these original Xbox titles. He's been playing all the games that we have, since gaming's come around. He knows what we want. He logs into the same games we do, and so it makes me happy that he brings back an old IP like that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other IPs they're going to be bringing back. There was a part of me that was kind of holding out for Fusion Frenzy to be announced.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens at some point, but probably not soon.
Yeah. I'd like to see them bring back Time Splitters.
Yeah. That studio's no longer around, unfortunately. That'd be fun.
Somebody could buy the rights.
I was about to say, that doesn't really stop people anymore, so...
You heard it here, Phil. Pick it up.
Not when you got Phil Spencer's wallet, it doesn't stop you.
Exactly.
Age of Empires, that was another one. The definitive remastered version in 4K textures. You guys big Age of Empires fans?
I used to be a long time ago, but I haven't played them in years.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I had.
I remember in high school and college watching over someone's shoulders as they baffled me with how much they were doing in the game, but never personally played it. It gave me entertainment, but not through a first-hand experience.
It is definitely one I think I'm going to pick up. RTS games are basically how I got started into gaming, because growing up we didn't really have... we always had a Nintendo, but my parents were very vigilant on which games could be played on there. And then we had a family, our family PC with big monitor, big tower, and stuff like that. That was just low budget, cheap PC. So about the only games I could play on it were RTS games, and because they didn't take much. So playing Age of Empires and StarCraft and all those, that's really how I got into gaming. Age of Empires and StarCraft, I think, were my first gaming addictions. So I'm looking forward to going back to it. Even if I don't put a lot of time into it, it'll be nice to kind of have that sense of nostalgia, going back and seeing things, and going back and seeing them without them being super blurry or pixelated.
They'll look how you remember, even though that's not how it was.
Yeah. They also announced Wasteland 3. Which I don't know about you guys. I'm excited for. I love the Wasteland series.
I honestly thought it was going to be an expansion for what's the name? The Mutant game, Mutant Year Zeros.
Oh yeah, Garden to Eden. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be an expansion for that because Wasteland wasn't really on my radar, but it looks really good.
Have you guys ever played the Wasteland games? I know they're not super.
I meant to, but I never got the chance to. But I got Game Pass, and Wasteland 2 is...
Wasteland 2 is on there, and Wasteland 2 is super excellent. I don't know if you guys ever played Fallout 1 and 2.
I did.
But it's that same style of game. The original Wasteland, which came out in the 80s, was the precursor. It was by the same guy, Fallout. But Wasteland was actually its precursor to that, and Fallout 1 was basic, but with the black humor mixed in. But the first Wasteland, you go back and see it; it's all black and white, super big pixels and that kind of stuff. But Wasteland 2 came out, I want to say 2014, 2015, and it's a gorgeous looking game. Still looks great, but it's that top down point and click kind of RPG. Anybody who likes Pillars of Eternity, that sort of thing, it's great for that. Except, yeah, Nuclear Wasteland, it's great. So I'm excited for the third one.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give 2 a try. I've heard great things about the series, and I do like those style of games. So I don't know. It looked very interesting.
Yeah, it's fun, and they're not for everyone. I get that. A lot of people don't do well with the slow point and click RPGs.
Yeah.
But the isometric ones, that's okay. I'm excited. I'm glad the franchise is still going. I'm trying to see what else.
State of Decay
Crossfire.
2?
Oh yes, State of Decay 2.
Sorry.
Did you guys
Finally
ever play
has a
that?
story. It finally has a story.
Justin was shouting about that during it, so.
Yeah. So I got it when it first came out. I loved the first State of Decay. State of Decay 2 was really fun to play with friends for a little bit, but it got old fast because all you're doing is surviving, going to another house, surviving. We were promised a story, and we finally got a story. It only took them this long after they released the game, which was, 2017, 2018? So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was last year.
looks good. I'm definitely going to go back and give it a play.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I actually re-downloaded State of Decay 2 the other week on my PC. Been wanting to go back through and play it again. I never put as much time into the second one. The first one I loved. I don't know. It's felt weird because the first one I absolutely loved, put tons of time in it, but the whole time you're sitting there playing like, this needs multiplayer. And then the second one, they added the multiplayer, which was awesome, but I didn't put in nearly as much time. So, looking forward to trying out. I think Heartland was. Didn't they say it was free with Game Pass,
Yes.
Today.
downloadable today, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna install that.
Just out of curiosity, are we like finally past the zombie era of video games and TV? Does anyone else feel like that, or
No.
No.
no?
Dying Light 2.
Okay, just me. Okay.
Yeah, World War Z. GTFO. I'm assuming that has zombies in it whenever that comes
Yeah.
out. I don't think zombies will disappear from games ever.
I just feel like there was a period we went through where like every other game that was announced had some type of zombie in it or something. But
All my monitors just went off. That was weird.
That's
Now
weird.
they're back on. I lost you guys for a second.
I don't think that zombies will be as prevalent, but to go off of what Jason said, I don't think that they're ever going to disappear because they're super easy to constantly evolve and make more and more terrifying. Dying Light 2 will have zombies, it'll have humans as well, but it's going to focus heavy on the zombies. World War Z was awesome for the little bit that I played it. But the zombies were great because they just climb on each other.
didn't they move really quickly too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Days Gone.
Yeah, they move like they did. Yeah. I don't think it'll die. I think it'll be kind of more cyclical.
Gotcha.
I guess like you'll kind of see it ebb and flow, the popularity of them.
Yeah.
But I don't see zombies ever disappearing. Zombies have been part of mainstream media for a long time, since since Romero.
Yeah. I was just curious your opinions on it.
Yeah, which I'm fine with. I love zombie stuff. And if I ever feel too burnt out on it, I'll go play Halo.
Yeah.
where they've got parasite zombies.
I was about to say the Flood are kind of zombies, so just a different flavor.
Yeah,
You can go play Destiny, where you've got the Hive that are kind of worm zombie things. I mean, everywhere has it in their own flavor, I guess.
They're just so easy to interchange. The Last of Us, they're zombies with the weird parasite.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those still haunt me. Yeah, so that leads us to Dying Light 2. We didn't talk much about that, did we?
Not
I'm
really.
excited.
They teased it a long time ago. They had a big lengthy trailer, and then you just heard nothing about it, which always worries me a little. Because whether it's a game or a movie, when they release a trailer and then you don't hear anything for another year or two, that usually means it's going through development hell. It's getting passed around, or they're reshuffling the studio or something like that. So I haven't heard of any development issues with Dying Light 2, but just from past experience, I'm a little hesitant.
The reason why they have said why they've been so quiet about it. It's supposed to be 4 times the size of the original game, so a much bigger map. You're dealing, like I said, you're dealing with humans this time around too, like a government uprising. So not only do you have the zombies you have to deal with all this political stuff that's going on in the cities. I personally think it's going to be a good game. I've been waiting for it since I beat the first one, however long ago that was. But that's another game that came out quite a long time ago, Dying Light, that they're constantly putting free updates into to give you more stuff. So we shall see.
I think part of taking so long though too was, I know they released a I forget what it was called, but they released their own battle royale, which I don't think performed very well.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That might have contributed for it to it taking so long. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it looks great. The concept of it, where you've got that whole Shadow of War thing going on, where your choices impact like the way the city looks and all that kind of stuff. And I always like those games where you're rebuilding a civilization, that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping it's good. Definitely hoping it's good.
and I mean, we still haven't heard anything from Dead Island 2, so something needs to...
That game's dead in the water. Speaking of development hell, I think that game's gone through 6 different developers now.
Yeah.
That IP's been passed around. It reminds me a lot of Homefront: The Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys remember that. That was passed around, if I remember correctly, 8 or 9 developers in the time. In its time that it was being made. It was canceled twice and brought back, and I was just amazed that that game even came out, regardless of all the bugs and how boring it was and stuff like that. The fact that it made it out, that it actually came out, was an achievement of its own.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dead Island 2 reminds me of that, because I think it was almost 4 years ago, I want to say, when they announced Dead Island 2. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I mean, it's the same, I believe the same team that worked on or Dying Light and Dead Island. It's the same team.
They split, but yeah.
Yeah, they split. But Dying Light was the more successful. I mean, I love Dead Island. I love Dead Island Riptide. Put a lot of time into those games back on the 360. But Dying Light was way more successful. Played a lot better. Ran a lot better. I just don't know if we'll see Dead Island 2 see the light of day. I think if we don't see another trailer or announcement or anything like that at E3 this year, I think it's dead.
Yeah,
It makes me sad, but
or
also the trailers I didn't understand because they weren't actually on an island anymore.
we were in California.
SoCal. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oops, I'm putting this up.
That
loud. Crossfire X. Have any of you, ever played that?
It's very much a meh game for me.
Yeah, I've never played it. I was surprised to kind of see it come to Xbox, but I don't know. It's probably a pass for me. It doesn't look like one that's much my style.
I think it may get lost in all of... I feel like we're in a really good release era right now for good games, so I think it may get lost among them.
Yeah, I mean, I personally had never heard of it before. I've never played it, and just looking at it now, it looks like a free-to-play. It's just a free-to-play game. So I think Microsoft was just trying to pad their free side a little bit more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might download it on PC though. Give it a go. Sometimes I'm surprised.
Yeah,
that's true.
Crossfire. So we talked a little bit, or only slightly, but Tales of Arise. Have you guys ever put much time into the Tales of series?
Yep, I've beaten all of them.
Yeah.
Yep. So
are you looking forward to this new one?
I am. It was kind of funny when it was announced. We were watching it. I even said, "Well, I just beat the most recent one, so it's time to go back through another Tales game." They're done really good. Their co-op is very interesting in the Tales games. Like, one person controls the main character, and then up to 3 friends can control your party in fights. But that's all they control, is just when they're in fights, nothing else. So the stories have always been good. I'm interested to see more in it. I'll end up playing it.
I'm not a huge JRPG person, so it's kind of where it falls for me.
Yeah, same here. I haven't put much. I've struggled getting into JRPGs. I think the last Final Fantasy is the closest thing I've ever gotten into it, and I know that's because it was more fast action. But games, they're really popular, and I'm excited to see it come into the Microsoft side more. That'll be good.
Yeah.
I grew up on JRPGs. The regular Nintendo, Super Nintendo had a ton of them. We were a Sony household. Had a ton of JRPGs on that, so I've played far too many of them.
I think.
Right on.
Yeah.
I guess the last thing, very last one on my list, the new Star Wars game. I guess we didn't talk too much about. Are you guys excited for it? Are you disappointed by it?
I mean,
what are you feeling?
I kind of gave my 2 cents at the beginning that I actually thought the Xbox trailer was more interesting than the EA one. I think, based on what I saw, I think people are going to be disappointed. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan myself. I've seen the original 6 movies. I haven't really kept up with the new ones. I know it's set in a timeline period that people are excited about. So it's like after all the Jedis theoretically were killed off. Obviously they weren't. But I think it's more linear than people were hoping for. I think a lot of people were hoping for that open world element, and it just didn't seem to be there in the gameplay that I've seen thus far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love Star Wars. I've played most of the games that have come out. In fact, I mentioned I accidentally put Knights of the Old Republic on the wrong hard drive. If the gameplay footage did seem a little lacking, I will say that, but I don't know. I'll give it a try when it comes out. I'm really hoping it has a good story and that they stay true to Star Wars itself.
I'm. Is it just me seeing the delay on your camera, or is that? Can you see that too, Smidge?
On who?
On Psycho's camera.
Yours has been delayed for me the whole time, so...
Mine has? Okay.
Yeah, there's been a desync.
You went robot-y 1 or 2 times.
Try that, see if it helps. Yeah, I'm hesitant about it. It's... I don't know, for a few reasons. I think a lot of people were expecting something more along the lines of the Jedi Academy or Jedi Knight series way back when, and it looks like it takes lessons from that. It looks more like the opposite side of the story from The Force Unleashed, which were okay games, but yeah, because that's that same time period, but instead of working for the bad guys, you're on your own. I don't know. I'm hesitant because I think Respawn is a great developer. I think I've liked everything that they've released so far. The main reason I'm hesitant is they've been their story side of things haven't always been the best. Titanfall 2 had an amazing campaign. It really did. It had a great, but it was pretty short. Titanfall 1 didn't have really any campaign in it. It just had voiceovers for multiplayer matches. And then, Apex obviously doesn't have a campaign to it. So I'm a little hesitant on how that's going to hold up in an open world, more of an open world game. It'll be interesting to see. So hope for the best. Kind of expecting the worst, though.
Yeah. Yeah, if Star Wars games have shown us anything in the last few years.
We're ready for EA's contract to be up?
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, I think that's a general consensus in the gaming community right now. I guess on that note, who would you guys want Star Wars to go to? Which publisher?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, the last Star Wars game I really enjoyed was the original Battlefront series. I was really hoping...
That was LucasArts.
Yeah, that was LucasArts, so... But they're not...
I don't know.
They're not a thing anymore, right?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, that's what I
Disney
thought.
bought them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know who I'd like to see do Star Wars, quite honestly. Maybe some small indie developer.
Maybe what's best at this point. Give a whole fresh take on it.
The way Disney operates, they're not gonna just give a single game over to a developer, regardless of how big or small they are. If they ever decide to move the licensing rights away from EA, it'll go to another big publisher for sure. It would go over to Activision Blizzard or Ubisoft or Bethesda. I don't know, but it would go over to a big publisher for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
I would actually personally ever played with them, even if they start off in bare bones, Ubisoft at least sticks with their games and they improve on it over time. Rainbow Six Siege, when that came out, was super bare bones. I could see the potential when I was playing it in the alpha and on the first couple months to release, but it was bare bones and they lost a lot of players because of that. But instead of giving up on the game, they stuck with it, improving on it and building on servers and infrastructure and adding more content. And now it's one of the top streamed games and one of the top esport games out there right now. And I definitely prefer that. I would love to see it take over the Star Wars franchise. I think we'd get a lot better quality games and a lot more variety. Ubisoft is the one thing I've liked about them too is they've always been willing to take risks and jump into new style of games. I know they get a lot of flack for doing Assassin's Creed and Far Cry over and over again, but like they'll jump out and they'll do Mario Rabbit and a game like Steve Honor. That's a big one. It's even though a lot of that gameplay was really different from anything else when it came out. So I like that they take those shaky steps and try something new.
Just be interesting to see.
Just so you know, Jace, you're going a little robot-y, at least on my end.
Am I? That's not good.
Yeah.
So did anything of what I said come through?
Most of it came through.
That's good, because I was on a big rant. I'm going to end my stream and see if that helps.
Okay.
I was just looking. Apparently, Charter's having some issues, so if you have Charter...
I have Comcast.
Yeah.
I have Charter, so that's fun.
Well, I mean, I think we hit all the topics. The one thing, I know we talked about it a lot, but one thing I kind of have written down is it's interesting to me with Game Pass. I know we've been saying all these great things about it, but I think it's a smart move on Microsoft's part, because if they have Game Pass and get more of their community playing on PC, they're losing less money on consoles. Because I don't think a lot of people realize when Xbox and PlayStation are putting out their consoles, most of the time, if not all of the time, they're losing money on those consoles.
Oh, for sure.
So if they actually end up selling less Xboxes, I'm not sure that's a bad thing, as long as they're not overproducing them, if they still get the same traffic through the new PC stuff.
Absolutely.
Honestly, go ahead.
I think the exact figure they said on PlayStation to make a PS4 with all the hardware that's in there, about $1,000, and then they sell it for $400.
Yep.
So it's a big chunk that they lose out on. And the same with Xbox, especially if you look at like the Xbox One X.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little pricier than the PlayStation 4 Pro, but there's a reason for that. It does have better hardware. But even so, they're selling that at like $500. That's got to cost them at least $12. So.
Yeah, I remember them when it was released. They were doing a bunch of people were doing cost analysis, and it was about $1,200 to $1,300 per Xbox One X. Honestly, what I'd really like to see is since we're getting more of that 360 era Microsoft back, I would love to see them price cut the new Xbox when it comes out, undercut the PlayStation even by $50. Take more of a loss on it, because that's a big difference between Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft has way more money. They could drop their price by $100 cheaper than what the PlayStation is selling at for a whole year, and it's still not going to make a big enough dent in the Microsoft bank account. Whereas Sony, if they tried doing that, I mean, PlayStation's where they make the majority of their money from. I mean, they sell TVs and all that kind of stuff, but really their revenue comes from PlayStation, comes from gaming. They can't price drop like that. Yeah. So personally, I would like to see it $50 underneath whatever the PlayStation comes out at, which I think they announced the other day was $450 or $500, somewhere in there. Got leaked. And Microsoft was very considerate not to give a hardline price today, I noticed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They also didn't show off too much of what they didn't really give you a good look of what the actual console looked like.
Yeah.
So I think when it actually finally comes out next holiday, 2020, there's going to be at least 3 different versions of the new Xbox. I think you're going to have your discless version, you're going to have your average version, and then you're going to have your high-end version with all the specs they were talking about today. And I think having 3 different options, one for the person for the hardcore gamer, one for the average consumer, and one for the person who is on a budget, I think that's going to increase Microsoft's market share considerably.
And for anyone listening, I don't think we're like hardcore all Xbox people here. I think we're just ready to see Xbox compete again. I think that's kind of where this conversation's coming from. So I don't want anyone to get the wrong vibe that we're all like, we hate PlayStation, because I love my PlayStation. But I
will admit, I am an Xbox fanboy. That's what I grew up on. But I don't hate PlayStation at all. Yeah. I don't like the controllers.
I'm a PlayStation fanboy. I bought the PS4 day one. I didn't get an Xbox One until 2 years ago. But yeah, I do want to see Microsoft compete again. I would like to see more, because I love the 360. I had a 360 before PS3, but
that's the thing. Them being competitive like this, them being aggressive, it's good for us as a whole. Competition is good because it means they're going to just keep trying to one-up each other by either offering things cheaper or better or both, and it's better for us. Competition is good. It's not a good philosophy to say, well, PlayStation is the best and that's the only one that you don't even have to buy an Xbox, or vice versa. It's better when they're on par with each other, fighting back and forth.
And PlayStation's only where they are now because they were losing to Xbox prior to where they are now. So it's very much they trade off going back and forth. So the competition's good because the only reason PlayStation's as good as they are right now is because they had to beat Xbox.
Oh, definitely. And that's what happened you're just seeing history repeat itself. When PS2 was out and the original Xbox came out, Xbox didn't sell nearly as well as the PS2. And in that time, Sony got comfortable with where they're at, where they're like, no, well, we're the best, we're the name brand, people are going to go with us. And the 360 came out, they price cut the 360 while Sony upped theirs to $600, and they hurt because of that. They lost that generation because of that, and then it flip-flopped again. Microsoft got comfortable because now we're owning the market share. We've got the exclusives with Activision and Blizzard for Call of Duty, all that kind of stuff. And Sony stepped up their game. So it goes back and forth.
Yeah. It's kind of the ebb and flow of the gaming industry, and at the end of the day, gamers benefit from it. So
100%.
Kind of it pushes them to be better than they are. So
yeah. And I mean, look at Nintendo. Nintendo had to do something because they lost hardcore, and look at how well the Nintendo Switch is doing. So, yeah, competition is good. I'd love to see Nintendo be back up as a forerunner between the two big consoles, but with the way that their business is set up, it's never going to be that way.
I think they're just trying to grab the mobile market at this point. I think that's where they're going to thrive and survive. So,
yeah, Nintendo has always had some of the weirdest business models. For almost 20 years now, it's been Microsoft and Sony butting heads, and then Nintendo's just kind of in the corner going, "Hey guys, what's up? We got some weird gadgets. You want a Power Glove?
Yeah,
that's true. Around?"
Oh god, yeah.
Like they've. I think the most. I don't know. Every console they've released has been really weird. Probably the NES and the SNES have been like the most normal ones.
Yeah.
But even the GameCube was weird. They still had the little discs and it was cube shaped. The N64 had the most ridiculous controllers of all time. The Wii with an actual remote instead of a controller. The Wii U. It's just all weird. Even the Switch, I love my Switch. It's a weird console.
It is.
It's very bizarre compared to the others.
Yeah, it's very strange. Very, but it is a good console. But I don't know. It'd be like if PlayStation decided to get back into the handheld market. We all saw how well the PS Vita did. Not to say that it wasn't a bad console. it was a good console, like good little handheld. It just didn't do well in the Western market, and I didn't expect it to.
My roommate in college used it to play PlayStation on the toilet, so
Lovely.
he just connected it to the PlayStation and walked in the other room.
Yeah, you could do that. That was very interesting with it.
Well, I think we've pretty
I
much
think we finally hit it all.
covered everything off my list.
I'm sure next week will be even longer with
There's a lot.
Yeah.
ton of conferences to talk about, but we won't have PlayStation though, so we'll
But
see.
we will
Yeah.
have Square Enix
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
let's hope Final Fantasy VII's remake.
And I think Bethesda just started about 8 minutes ago, so
yep. So we apologize, guys. Today's episode's a little bit longer than usual, considerably longer. It's almost 2 hours.
it's an hour and a half.
We're planning to keep these at an hour going from here on forward. But it's just this time of year. It's E3. All the gaming news is out. It's really hot. Going from here on out, we're planning with the podcast to, we'll obviously still be talking about a lot of gaming news, industry news, but also anytime new changes happen with Facebook streaming, we're going to be talking about that. And as we grow a little bit more, we're going to find up-and-coming streamers on Facebook, get them in here as guest stars for that week's episode, and hopefully help highlight their streams a little bit, so we can get a little bit more variety in and out of here each week.
Yeah, get some new opinions too.
Yeah, it's always good.
Yeah.
But yeah, next week I'm sure is probably gonna be long too, because after we end here, we're still gonna have the Bethesda conference. What was PC gaming?
Nintendo.
They've got a VR showcase. Yeah, Nintendo, Ubisoft, Square Enix.
It's not the PC Gamer Show this year. It's like Epic something something something. Epic bought out the name to it.
Gotcha, my bad.
I thought it was funny.
Devolver, and then I'm sure even though they're not going to be at E3, we'll hear something new from Sony soon at some point.
See what happens with them.
Yeah.
They'll have a state of play here coming up
Friday at 10th's just gonna show up.
Yeah.
Sony will be there. Just happens to be the same week in the same location.
Yeah. That'll be great.
But yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you to everyone. If you're listening to this right now, or even after the fact, once we get this up on podcast services, thank you for supporting this new adventure that we're going to be going through with all you guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. We do plan to be live streaming this to our Facebook page every week, Sunday, hopefully sticking to the same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central.
7
And, sorry, what?
I just said 7 Eastern. Most people think Eastern or Pacific, so.
Gotcha. So we'll be live streaming it every week. We'll also be uploading a recorded video version of this to our YouTube channel, and be doing a audio only version for you guys, so you can listen to on your commute or at work or wherever on Podbean, on our Podbean channel, and then hopefully get that out to iTunes and Spotify soon as well. But yeah, with that, I think we're gonna wrap up. Tater and Smitch, where can we find you guys at?
You can find us basically everywhere. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at Tater and Smitch. We do bounce around on Mixer and Twitch also. If you see us there, we'll also be Tater and Smitch. We have those names. We have a YouTube Tater and Smitch, but we don't use it. I think that's all of them. I even have a caffeine account. I don't know why, but I have Tater and Smitch on caffeine. But that's it.
Right on. Psychocrass, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Psychoscrast. You can find me on Twitter. It's Psychoscrast on Twitter, and then you can find me on Instagram. It's the Psychoscrast. That's it,
Jace.
Awesome. And I go by the Mocking Jace TV anywhere and everywhere. Although I stream mainly to Facebook, so you can always catch me there every day. We will get some links up to all of our different sites, Podbean and YouTube and all that, in our description here as soon as the stream ends. And until then, unless you guys have anything else to say,
Thank you,
see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.